University of Pennsylvania. A friend of mine conducts training for the Army in that, and those kinds of resiliency books are out there as well. You look up, if you want to get really ahead of the game, you have to look at resiliency as a base skill in order to have the skills on board for people before crisis occurs in order to accommodate the stresses that are upon them. Now, suicide prevention still is, the goal line defense, but with the defense in depth kind of concepts, you have to build teamwork, trust, in order to get ahead of these things. Because if you have teamwork and trust, then people will communicate that they're not doing well or they're having problems, and see it as a sign of strength to go look for help rather than wait for that horrid phone call that says, we just lost someone.
What would you tell someone that's struggling with PTSD post-combat and that is too proud to seek help right now? Or maybe
I don't know if it's too proud or too scared.
I second-guessed that when I said it, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Too afraid, or that thinks that it's not the right thing to do.
If not now, when? When, seriously, if they know they have a problem, waiting doesn't make it any better. In fact, it becomes a secondary reinforcement, right? That if you don't get help, if you don't do something about it, what are you saying? Are you helpless? Yeah. You're saying I'm incapable of addressing this. Okay. Well, fair enough. Then what do you do about that? So I guess it gets into kind of a motivation theory. How do you find the motivation, or how do you help instill motivation in someone else? PTSD doesn't go away on its own. Once it's embedded, it has its own wiring pattern. The first few days after a trauma, there's a lot of leeway in putting that to rest, or even medications that will help abate that. If you're exposed to a trauma, they can put you on some medications very early on that will help keep it from forming into deep memory. So, it all gets into that encoding stuff that's not really my bailiwick.
DNA of a trauma. There's a science behind it. We don't have to get into that right now. But it definitely affects our
science.
DNA. And how we react to different circumstances or experiences, and how we are programmed. And we can always unprogram it and reprogram it too through therapy. And it's just all kind of like that. But so we have about 3 minutes left. So I know that you've written and published a bunch of articles that are there. Where can we find them and look them up? Have you written on cyberbullying, suicide, PTSD?
Yeah, I wrote
a bunch of things.
On my Facebook page, there's an article on cyberbullying. In fact, there's two of them. So if people knew me on Facebook, they can see those. I think those are public, and they could be viewed just by clicking on my page. Other things are, the Journal for Counseling and Development in New York. I published an article on suicide prevention in 2006 called Empathy and Assessment. And it's on the clinical side, so if they're clinically oriented, that's a good resource. If you want to know about PTSD, then the article in the Journal for Counseling and Development is written at the layman's level, so that it's easily digested, and it's kind of it's a good read. It's centered on a combat vet that was a Korean War and a Vietnam vet. That's how I get it started. But he and I had a pretty good bond over his Korean War experience. And he would tell me about the eyes the thing that riveted his desire, where his PTSD was looking into the eyes of a dead soldier that had frozen to death. And, those things stuck with me for all these years.
Yeah.
But that one man, he motivated me to work on dream therapies. So, yeah, I've got an entire training out there on the internet as well on dream therapy. I did a training in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and
hey, but
2000.
We are out of time, Wayne. So sorry.
I didn't. Oh man, I could talk forever.
Yeah, but you know what? It's been really great having you on the show, and what an honor. And thank you for everything you've done to change the world and make it a better place. And for you guys listening, Wayne, his last name's Hankamer, Hankammer. You can find his work on his Facebook page, and you can also Google him. And for all your acts of service and everything, really appreciate it. And for being on the show and being so transparent. So thank you so much. And I know that you've helped a lot of people. And we'll be back tomorrow with Moments of Clarity from 12 to 1. I have a guest coming on. He's a YouTube sensation from his TEDx talk, and he was almost a school shooter. And we're going to have that tomorrow. So join me tomorrow, 12 to 1. Thank you, Ed, for everything. Thank you, Wayne. And thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. Be kind to yourself and to a stranger. You never know what they're going through. Take care. Find your joy. Ask for